felt emotions of tension for sure. It was a very, at times, thrilling play, and so there was definitely lots of tension, sometimes on the edge, short bursts of fright.
Okay, well, it was really mysterious, and I felt really involved in the characters. I don't remember their names exactly, but I like how what's his face was so he was I don't know how to explain it. He was very smart.
Rupert?
And observant. Yeah, Rupert. He was very observant of everything, and he didn't let anything go to waste. I like how frantic you guys played everything, and it just made me feel like I was in the play myself.
I particularly liked the use of light in the play, and so every time was at the very beginning when only the one lamp was on. I really particularly enjoyed the use of light. So anytime there was, any change in light, I found that really, really interesting.
I like how well you guys played the noble role of wine and guests and butlers serving food. I like especially the ending scene, the closing of the curtain, the gun shooting. That was really nice. And how you all exited to get the jacket. But I don't know, my favorite part may have been when Rupert came back after he left and wouldn't leave, and we got agitated.
It was definitely at the end when the guy kind of pointed the gun up in the air and he knew you did it. So.
I mean, I'm sure there's always things. Was necessarily every actor at the same level as each other? No, not necessarily. But my general impression overall, I was very impressed by the quality of the production and by obviously the work that had gone into it. So, could there have been different ways to stage things that might have been better? Maybe. It's not the kind of thing that I sat there thinking, oh, I wish they'd done this differently.
It seems that, so obviously there were people who were more involved, who worked harder. I feel like some of the cast could have worked harder to learn their lines, and that's basically it. Other than that, performances were fine. I mean, nervousness is going to happen, so that's natural.
I enjoyed the levels, definitely, and I enjoyed your use of the space, using, people went to the side, came from the back, and it seemed like a very lived-in space on stage. It seemed like a very full, well-appointed. It wasn't a super detailed apartment scene necessarily, but there were enough details that it seemed like a very lived-in set.
I like the set. Especially the window, the blue light. That was nice. I've never seen anything like that.
The set, I love that it was well organized. And I also liked that it had some of the sets from one act. That definitely made me very happy knowing that all the set got to be reused.
Again, maybe it's not necessarily something I thought about when I was watching it, but my only, thought was that, and it's more a product of the space you were in, that if you were sitting a few rows back, it was sometimes not as easy to see the action downstage. But I liked the use of the levels, but if you were in a different space, it would have been even more effective, I guess.
Maybe better chairs, just more regal looking chairs, noble, stuff like that.
Directing wise, I think you did a pretty good job to start it, for your first play. You structured it right. You had the whole plan set up, and you just made everything work. Even when things went horribly wrong, you still found that little silver lining and the gray clouds to make everything work out.
You definitely stayed cool during the whole process, which I commend you on because I would have been pulling my hair out. You kept persistent. You didn't give up on people, and You gave us good direction and explained things well, and you weren't afraid to get your hands dirty.
I thought it was very professional, like for not being like overseen by like an adult, and it turned out pretty well, and I like the way it went. So.
Very natural. I guess it's just because of our friendship, but I think you have like a goal set in mind of like, I think we both have the same idea where like we both like have this dream of like the final product, and whether we can convey what we want to the other people. I mean, there were like difficulties with people dropping out and stuff like that, but I think at the end we definitely got something.
It was very non-stressful. Like, I never felt like we were really putting on a play. I don't know if that's like really positive or negative, but like it was just kind of like, oh cool, just kind of hangout session and really getting something done. And I was pretty happy with how the production came out at the end of it.
Memorizing those monologues. I tried my best to, and it didn't work out. But the last show, I memorized it pretty well.
The memorization of whether blocking and my lines and the way I should interact with people.
Doing a French accent,
Yeah.
and I didn't do it well, and I know that.
Definitely losing cast. Getting appropriate cuts, the script. Pretty much the entire thing. No, but it was really, I'm glad that it was really difficult and I had to sort of grind my heels because I learned a lot.
Definitely coming in so late into the play and like not knowing basically anything and not even really being in any like acting environment until this. So it was like really following up ahead of you and Jack and really talented people, like not really knowing what to do, I guess.
You taught me that basically you can expand your characterization. You don't want to just stay in like one zone. You have to like explore other options, be like more, vast and broad, and don't be afraid to get out of like, your comfort zone. It's okay to play different people and just have fun with whatever you're given. Like if everything goes bad, still try to find a way to make everything positive. And
Good things can come from a disaster. The end of the show was great, but it was a lot of work.
Probably more about just like the putting on a play in general, because with here there's a lot of stuff that we like take for granted, and it was kind of cool to see that you have to do a lot more in the real world. I'm gonna go deep here and say like not like staying calm, but like handling things well. Like there was a lot of times where like people quit and a lot of other stuff happened, but it was, even though it had a bumpy ride, you were always flatline. I'm not dead, but you know what I mean.
Timing is everything. Don't underestimate the amount of time you have. I guess I was just so used to a play coming together with like under Mr. Wright because he had just done it for so long. So I was like, oh, I've done this 3 times. I can do this. But yeah, I guess I just underestimated how difficult it was.
How to act, really like how to put time into acting and really what to do to make yourself a better actor, I guess.
I feel like you and Mr. Wright share some similar ways. Like the way he like constructed Shrek was kind of like the way you kind of constructed Rope, which was a good thing because like the way he constructed it is like what I'm used to, and then like I'm used to you, so everything just worked out and like all the pieces fell in place, so it was real good.
I like that yours wasn't, I've had some directors where it's like, this is how you're gonna say it and there's no way you can change that. And you were like, oh, this is kind of what the script says, but you do what you think. And if you really didn't like it, then you would tell me. But you were open about it, and some people are not.
I would say find like solid people to play the parts, because a lot of people flopped out like at first it was like good, and then like people just started to drop, and then you were like, wait, I don't have enough people. So I would say like when you know, have your auditions for the characters, like have at least a backup just in case that person drops out. So, you know, like an understudy, there we go, an understudy for like that character. So like if that person can't make it or can't do it because something came up, then that understudy will take over, and then everything will go way smoother than before, because when people just started to drop, we didn't know what to do.
Making sure people are committed, attend rehearsals, don't quit, and keeping a schedule better.
I don't think it's that I don't think you give up on like when you're like trying to get someone to do a thing. I feel like it's just like, well, especially with this, since like the time constraints, I feel like you were just like, okay, that's fine. Like with a lot of DJ stuff, it was like, hey, it'd be really cool if you could like do this and be like sort of dark, and he just sort of brought his own thing to it, which was fine in the end. But I really would have liked Rupert to have been a darker character.
I guess be more strict. That's all I can say, really.